Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Paranomaly Beyond Disclosure. We are a weekly podcast focusing on the paranormal, the supernatural, and the metaphysical. Join us for thought-provoking discussions on paranormal phenomena, conspiracies, and all things unexplained as we talk to researchers and investigators about ghosts and hauntings, UFOs and aliens, urban legends, cryptids, and so much more. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow to receive notifications when new content is made available. You can also visit us at www.paranomalypodcast.com for more content and information, including all our social links. I thank you again for watching and or listening, and we hope to see you for the next episode of Paranomaly Beyond Disclosure. So grab yourself a drink and a snack, turn the lights off on the way back, find yourself a nice comfy spot, and enjoy this episode of Paranomaly. Stay with us, folks. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in tonight. We have a great show coming up. We have Anthony, it's Esemplare, correct?
Esemplare, yes.
Esemplare. We have Anthony on with us. It's all about drones. There's been a lot of drone sightings for the whole month of November, December, and it's just spiraled out of control, but it's not on the majority of the people out there. Most people don't even know what drones are, and they look up in the sky, they see something, and they're like, it's a UFO. And, maybe it could be a UFO, but more likely it's going to be something that is man-made, and there's going to be an explanation. Jim, thanks for joining us as well, because I know that you are on vacation, a Christmas vacation. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and this is going to be a good one. We're going to try to go over the drones and what they are and the classes and types and different things like that, and then into video footage. Anthony has been gracious enough to let us use some of his video clips, things of that nature. So yes, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on. Tell us just a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I'm retired now from the city, and for pretty much the past 25 years, I've been immersed in ufology after having a sighting back in '93. And basically, I go out at night now and I just study the sky. What's up, Robert? Everything that passes through the night sky, I'm filming in 4K, night vision, and FLIR. And then my partner Robert and I and our partner Mike, we try to triangulate these objects and sort out what they are and exactly where they're coming from, whether they're man-made or of actual extraterrestrial origin, which those ones are few and far between. And since the whole drone kerfuffle, I've been pretty much involved with that now since Robert had this amazing drone he caught in Jersey, and the one I filmed over Staten Island. And once I realized there's really something going on, I tried to get out there as much as I can and just film what's going on and see what we can, what pieces to the puzzle we could put together pretty much.
Fantastic.
So you've been on the ground in New Jersey and have been witnessing. Why don't you take us back to the early days of the first sightings?
Sure.
And just paint us a little bit of the picture of the beginning of the phenomenon, and then we'll kind of maybe move through it.
Sure. So we're going back a little over a month now when this officially started. So when it officially started, I didn't think there was anything to it. I thought people were just misidentifying, regular average Joe Jones that everybody's out there flying every day, DJI Mavericks and stuff of that nature. And then you have Amazon getting ready to roll out their delivery package drone system. And we heard the report of the old guy that shot one down in his backyard in Florida. And I'm like, these people are misidentifying these drones. And then a couple of weeks passed. I think like 2 weeks had passed while that was going on. And then my friend Robert in Jersey, in Bridgeton, which is South Jersey, he films this massive drone one night when we're hanging out. And looking at this thing, it was round. It had complete lights all around it. It did have the FAA strobe light. But even as Robert's filming, he's saying, this is not extraterrestrial. This is probably military. Take a look at this thing. It's massive. And we filmed the whole thing until it passes. So that's what really kickstarted everything off. Once Robert caught that drone and I got a look and I said, I've never seen anything like this before. It really lit a match under me to get out there and try to see what was going on. And I think it was maybe 3 days later, I'm outside filming on the beach with night vision when I filmed the first drone fly over the beach. And it was really quick. And for anybody that's a trained investigator that's always out observing the sky, you know what helicopters sound like, Cessnas, regular aircraft. Your ears are very in tune to these things, and your eyes as well. This thing sounded like a drone when it flew over, but a larger scale drone. And I filmed that. It was quick. And then the following Saturday at 6 a.m., I'm up, I'm feeding my dog. And my wife and I are in the kitchen. We hear it sound like a lawnmower in the sky, like a really loud lawnmower in the sky. And I said, what is that? We both turned to, what is that? I grabbed my phone. I ran to the front door and I look up in the sky and maybe about 60 feet over my roof. Now, I have a townhouse, so it's like 85 feet tall tops. Just about 50 to 60 feet above that, a gigantic, I would say the size of a VW Bug car flew over, and it was a quadcopter. And it was so low that the street lights, which are, I'd say about 70 feet, illuminated the underside of this. So I actually got a look at the cross section of it, the X and the four, wing patterns on it. And I'm just watching this thing zip by going northwest. And I couldn't believe I filmed the whole thing. And then my wife and I played that over, I don't know how many times, looking at that. This is real. This is really happening. And, just like anything you film with a cell phone, the footage always isn't going to be that great. So naturally, when I had put it up, you get your skeptics, oh, you filmed the plane or you filmed the Cessna. And I'm trying to explain to these people, if I filmed a plane or a Cessna, I would have been counting passengers. That's how low this thing was. I would have been literally seeing passengers in there like they were in my living room, because it was like maybe 100 feet above us tops. And then I sent that off to the FBI. And when the SAC agent, the special agent in charge, got back to me after they seen the footage and told me this is definitely a quadcopter of some kind, and they took all the coordinates I had, my ring camera footage, as well as the cell phone footage, I knew something was up. So then it's pretty much every day after that, I've been out and outside just trying to catch something. And I haven't. For me, those were my two, and the one Robert got, and then he filmed another one. But those are the only ones I've seen so far. But Staten Island, where I am, has been inundated with reports, especially we have Citizens app now. So you get constant police reports and stuff coming in from there. And there have been reports of 50, 60 of these things going over neighborhoods and people getting some really good, clear footage of it. So that's been it. But, we also have to keep in mind that, a lot of these sightings recently, there's been multiple reports in urban areas, New York, New Jersey, and these sightings, they raised a lot of questions and concerns about the operators, but there's all different types of drones, and people have to keep that in consideration too. And I think that the media did a huge disservice by showing the vast majority of their clips. They're just regular airplanes that they're showing. So when people go out and look up into the sky, they're like, well, that was on the news, so this must be the drone, right? And they're looking at a plane. Then you have the folks that are, saying these drones are spraying chemicals in the air, but it's just a plane with a contrail.
It's a contrail, yeah.
I think it's a lot of misidentification.
Right. So let's go back to the sighting that you had of the quadcopter. Mm-hmm. You had a video that you put out on your channel of what seemed like police in a police department who had recovered a drone that looked like some type of quadcopter.
Right.
Was that what you saw, or did you see something different than that? When I saw that one, I thought that seemed different than what people are describing.
It is.
That was big, but it wasn't SUV size.
No. that particular quadcopter crashed at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and I think the 6-2 precinct in the NYPD recovered that when it was already down from the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And I actually think that was a beer company that was running a promo with that quadcopter. And that one there is only maybe like 5 feet in circumference, nowhere near the size of the one I seen. The one I seen, was, yeah, it was small VW bug car size. It was big. I'm going to say maybe 16 to 18 feet in diameter. Totally different. Yeah.
And it was at night when you saw it, and it had unusual light patterns. It had the FAA lights, but additional lights beyond that.
Yeah, well, it was 6 a.m. in the morning when I had filmed it on Saturday, I believe the 14th. And it was shaped like the letter X. So you were looking at the letter X fly and wings on each corner. And then all 4 corners of this thing had solid white lights, and the underbelly had a solid red light. And next to that red light on the right-hand side, it had one white light that pulsed every so often. Again, every object in the sky needs those FAA lights. It's the law. But the color pattern on this thing was totally different than regular aircraft, than regular planes, because normally you'll have blue, red, and white. This was just one white light flashing with 4 solid whites and a red.
And there was a red light in the center.
Mm-hmm.
So initially, I think I could be wrong about this in hindsight, but initially when I saw some of these films of craft that seemed triangular to me at the time anyway, although it's hard to tell, sometimes from the footage, with a red light in the center, I wondered if some of these weren't perhaps the TR-3Bs, the alleged Raytheon and Northrop Grumman triangular type UFOs. There's one clip that we have. Let's play this clip, Todd. It's in our clips folder. It's I think it just says drone clip. There's actually 3 in sequence, but I'm talking about the middle one. There's one initially, which the person does describe as a black triangle or triangular, but you can't actually yourself verify this. And then the second one, to me, really made me think this could be a TR-3B. And then I saw more footage after that and realized that actually I think there are drones that weirdly have a kind of similar light pattern as the TR-3B.
There are.
Sort of. So that may have just been, one of these drones, but I wonder if maybe this resembles what you saw. So Todd, if you could bring up that clip.
Is this the Megyn Kelly show? Megyn Kelly?
Yes. Yeah, it's from.
All right, let me present this.
It's not a clip from the show, but it's just her footage.
Right. Oh yeah, let me grab that quick.
Go! Well, here they are. They look like a fucking triangle. They look like a triangle. Oh my god, here we go.
So it's this one right here.
Look at that sucker.
Are you freaking
Lights are on.
What?
It looks like a drone.
Hey, can you pause that?
No
once
way.
it's center?
F-16 just flew over.
Say that again, Anthony.
When that aircraft is dead center and it's like really in really good view, can you pause it for a moment?
Yeah, we can do that. Go ahead and do that.
And I'm going to show you something. Right there. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is a plane on approach. It's got its landing gear lights on. It has its front headlights on. The top light is the tail light. And then you're seeing lights on each wing. That's exactly what you're seeing. So this is a regular plane. And I could tell because I've seen millions of them in 25 years.
Interesting. So even that red, it almost seems like a larger than usual red light in the center. That's typical with an air. So
well, I'm going to tell you why that's happening. So just by looking the way the camera is, they're filming with a cell phone. I'm going to speculate. And depending on what kind of cell phone camera they have in the distance, the camera inside the cell phone is trying to figure out the depth and the range that light is coming from, and it's trying to sort out the light, and it's trying to adjust that autofocus, and it could be very bright and very dim, and that's what it's doing. The autofocus is trying to catch it. And you can see right here, again, the headlights are on, each wing has the lights on, and the tail has the light on.
Okay, well let's drill into this right here. So people have been seeing these. They look like, you know, a 747, and that may be a 747,
Mhm.
and probably. But people are saying that there are drones that have the same sort of profile as a 747, but can't be a 747 because they're, you know, 100 feet above their house.
And
What
you're
do you think
absolutely
about
right.
the sightings, you know, that seem to have that profile? Do you think that those are typically actually 747? I know there's an airport in the area, so could that explain why some of these sightings are lower than, you know, what 747s, you know, would run at?
Absolutely. And there are a bunch of fixed wing drones that are out there right now. And I don't know all the names of them, but there's some that are triangular shaped. There are some that are just solid body wing, and they'll have a light in the front, two lights on the wing. And they can shut those out. Now, there are options on these drones, especially the stunt drones, where you can shut the FAA lights off for a period of time and just fly it with the wing and the nose light on. So you will get that triangular pattern. And I guess some of them are massive, let's not forget, car size. So when
Yes.
they're flying over, these drones don't go above 600 feet. Let's also keep that in mind. It's not like you're going to see them at 30,000, 10,000 feet, 600 and below. So when you see something at that size, 400 to 600 feet up, it's going to look a lot bigger than it actually is because it's a lot lower. And you're going to think in your head it's the size of a 747, but theoretically, it's just lower to the ground. So again, misidentification on a lot of them.
Right. And now I want to do this, Jim. I want to back up just a little bit because we're talking about all these different things, but I want to go over just the simplistic, just a little bit of the simplistic of this. So let me share the screen here. I'm going to present the screen, and I'm going to show some of these drones. This is an agriculture drone. And if you look them up, you can attach different things. They can spray chemicals. They have data logging, things like that. Some of these are huge. They are 8-10 feet. I don't know how far or long these would stay in the air, but at nighttime, I'm sure it's pretty impressive with the lights on.
Right. But in your opinion, Anthony, how likely is it that we would be seeing agricultural drones in northern New Jersey?
Wintertime, let's keep in mind it's wintertime, so they're not going to be spraying anything wintertime, pesticides or anything like that. Most of the crops are corn right now, and they're getting ready. It should have been harvested already, if not this week. Corn would be getting harvested. So I don't think you're really going to be seeing anything like that. What I think you would be seeing now is maybe aerial surveillance and aerial reconnaissance drones in the private sector. The NYPD and the state police have very similar drones to the agriculture one, and they have a vast majority of them that go up over all 5 boroughs. So you're going to see them all over the place. And they do a wide variety of things. And then you have drones for the DOT, the Department of Transportation.
Correct.
They literally have drones that fly around and count potholes in the ground in the winter. So there's just tons of them. Look, this is a great application for any business to have today, because you don't have to send a person out into the field. You can do it right from the comfort of your building, and you just send the drone up and out to do the work. So again, these drones are there, these giant drones, these massive car-sized drones. It is happening. Something's definitely going on. But in the mix of all this, there's a lot of misidentification, because again, we have a lot of civilians that never keep an eye on the sky, and now they're outside in abundance. You know, you see all these new YouTube channels popping up, drone watching, right, with thousands of people in there.
Yes.
So you have all these new eyes on the sky that really don't know what they're looking at. And look at all the drones you just pulled up now.
Yes.
And that's not even all of them. You got fixed wing, helicopter, hexacopter, quadcopter, fixed wing hybrid.
Yes.
And there's another 1,000 more. Look, see. Now, the one on the right there, that black one, that's the one very similar to that, but a little thicker. That's the one you see when it makes the triangular pattern in the sky.
So this fixed wing,
yep.
I think it's called SenseFly EBX. Yes. So you can definitely, Jim, if you would stick some lights on that, that would definitely be something that could be mistaken for.
Okay, yeah, a point to make on this. So there are police departments that have drones in the air. DOT has drones in the air. But as far as I know, there haven't been any statements put out by these departments saying that these drones are ours. Oh, don't worry, these were just our drones, this police department, and nobody has sort of laid claim, as far as I'm aware, of these drones.
Well,
Isn't that an odd sort of fact here?
it is and it isn't, Jim, because if you own a business like Amazon and you were rolling out testing for your drones to drop packages off, and you were putting 200-300 up a night for testing, and this drone situation is going on and the whole world's panicked, would you want your company's name on the news taking the blame for that? Or even being put in the mix? So maybe that's why they're not saying anything.
Right. And
maybe, but it seems like in light of the extremity of the public outcry, the national attention, the fear in the minds of the public, questions of foreign adversaries, maybe operating these drones, that in that context, these entities would, at that point, lay claim to, ownership over these drones, you would think.
I agree. But then again, we don't know if we know they have the drones. We know they're testing them like Amazon and other companies, but we don't know if it was their drones in question up at that time over this area. Somebody shows a cell phone video and it just says South Jersey. You don't have what street it's on. Nobody's giving you coordinates, latitude and longitude, what day, what time. We're not getting any of that. We're just getting Jim Smith filmed this in New Jersey and we don't know where. So how could any one of these companies come and say, hey, oh, that was mine over Franklin Street at 6 p.m. because nobody's giving you date, time, or anything like that, really. And the people that are people that really know what they're doing, like Robert and myself, I'll cite because, we did it. I gave the date, the time, the location, all the information that they would need to try to ascertain what was what. Because even though I seen something that was the size of a VW boat, how do I know that the state police don't have one that big and they're just flying over neighborhoods, just trying to check out and find one of these drones on their own at that time, Again, another great tool to use, Flight Radar 24. And as you can see here in real time, this will show you everything that's up in the air. You can literally zoom in right down to your block, your house, and you can even go back in time. You can even go back in time to when mine was and pull up my house and see that nothing flew over. This is another tool people need to start utilizing. And I brought this to everybody's attention on my platforms, because if you see something, you should really try to weed out if it was a regular aircraft, because you don't want to tie up the FBI or the police department with a false report. Now they're investigating something and wasting time and resources when you could have just went on an app like this and realized it was a plane or a helicopter. And don't get me wrong, Jim, there are a ton of these massive drone sightings. And I think the best plausible situation for this is it's the military testing something. We heard that at first we heard that some chemicals, radioactive material was stolen off a barge, and that these drones, that guy John Ferguson came forward that builds drones for the government, saying they're sniffing for radioactive material or a dirty bomb. The government since come forward and said that's a false claim. But the statement that he made and letting me, an investigator, know that they can sniff for material like that. I didn't know that drones can sniff for radioactive material. I had no clue. And now that's just, something else that I'm aware of. You have to have the information when you're investigating this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So to me, the nuclear hypothesis does answer a lot of the questions. It does perhaps give an answer to why it seems to be spreading out from New Jersey. Why? Because the search is expanding. They haven't found what they're looking for. They're moving to new areas. Kind of explanation. And also, I guess it does explain the size of the drones, because I think with some of this information, I don't know if you saw that, I'm sure you did probably, that I'm not sure if it came out on X or Reddit. Somebody who claimed to be part of that group that knew about these operations, these HPGE drones, I think they're called, And that whatever the payload is on them, it's something massive, and you need basically a massive drone, to
Right.
carry that kind of payload. And that explains why, maybe these drones are larger than average. Is there also, I always thought that in light of that theory, that if they are looking for something, they probably wouldn't cover the same area again and again. Are we seeing that kind of pattern or lack of a pattern with sightings? Like when you're looking for drones in your area, do you see drones come over the same area twice?
No.
Or does it seem like they're always in different areas,
Always in different areas. Yeah. I would assume, and from what people have been telling me that are in this field now, these drones, these giant drones, they can have a grid search pattern, for maybe a mile or two. Okay. So that drone flew over my house. It probably got a mile or two in circumference. And now that whole grid is done. Then the next time you see it, maybe a mile, 2 or 3 miles down the road. And that's how I seen it. I seen the one that flew over my house. And then the next day it flew over the beach at night. One was early in the morning. The next one I noticed at night, but God only knows how many I missed in between. I could have missed a few. I don't know. Those are the only two I seen. But then you hear reports that people are seeing, 13 and 14 of them at a time in the sky. Then again, in that same report, they don't tell you how close they are to each other, how far apart they were. So you don't know if they were covering how vast the search area was that they were looking. And now it seems that these drone reports have died down quite a bit, because I really haven't heard much in the past couple of days, to be honest with you.
And do you think that that's due to the recent new drone bans, temporary drone bans in parts of New Jersey?
I don't, because that would only be for, civilians. If the federal government were operating these, and let's say it was Dr. Stephen Greer likes to say this is a psyop. So let's just say, for argument's sake, it's a psyop. Well, that would mean that the government people that are involved in this, only a handful would be read into a special access program like this. Only a handful are going to know what's going on at any given time. So, I mean, there's that situation. There's so many different situations that this could be. It's crazy. And without any information, it's all just, conjecture and speculation. But
right. And,
right. And I would just throw out there.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Todd. Sorry. I was just going to say, I would throw out there, I don't totally dismiss the possibility of this being a type of psychological operation. There are some weird things that don't make sense. There is, for instance, the orbs, which, as we were talking backstage, you actually saw firsthand.
Yeah.
If the nuclear hypothesis was true, how do you explain the anomalous things in the midst of this that we're seeing? And is this not something that maybe suggests something more than simply searching for nuclear material, missing nuclear material?
Let me just put it to you again from my perspective, because, again, this is only my viewpoint, and I could be dead wrong. Again, I think there are a lot of eyes in the sky, a lot of new eyes looking up to the sky that never looked up before. They don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what a star looks like when they zoom in on it. They don't know what a plane looks like for the first 3 minutes when it's on approach with its headlights on, because it looks like a solid object and you don't see any FAA lights for that first 2-3 minutes it's approaching you. So a lot of these people are looking at things like that and assuming they're this or they're that, and they're just misidentified human man-made craft. However, in the midst of this, people are probably witnessing unidentified flying objects in the mix, because I said earlier backstage,
everybody's looking at the sky.
Everybody's looking at the sky now, right? And right. When they see an unidentified flying object or orb or real bona fide unidentified flying object, I think they're getting the two mixed up, saying, well, these drones must be extraterrestrial. We can't bring them down. The government doesn't know what's going on. They must be aliens, right? And then you get people on certain channels whose name I won't mention, who have some major guests on that are famous on the History Channel. And then you have them agreeing to that narrative. And they're agreeing to false narratives. Just the other day, a major channel took Robert and I, we took our original drone video and we added some tracer round fire to it. And they had a very well-known someone come on who happened to work for the government saying, look, these tracer rounds can't hit that drone. It must be extraterrestrial technology. And he's telling 500,000 people this. Meanwhile, it's a CGI video. It's a well-known CGI video because it got over 1 billion views. And everybody knows it's CGI now, okay? It has disclaimers on it, on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. So you got those people making 500,000 people nervous, making them think it's alien technology we can't take down now, when clearly it's just a fake hoax video. So, you know what I mean? It's a messed up situation.
Why don't we bring up one of these videos just for the sake of the audience, so
Please.
they know what we're talking about, who I believe that this is likely one of the cases where it's Venus and not an actual object.
What video you want me to bring up, Jim?
I'm going to send it to you right now.
I think Channel 7 news crew filmed a good example of that too.
Yeah, I might have that footage as well, but I think this is another one where clearly you can see, because with the Channel 7 one, you don't see them zooming into the object. With the one I'm going to show you, you actually see, you know, from the zoomed out perspective to the zoomed in perspective. And at the level of when it's zoomed out, I mean, it just seems like a very, very far point, you know, in the sky, you know, which... And then sometimes I wonder, like the Channel 7 one, how did they not know? You know, how could, I guess people do have a tendency to mistake Venus for something unnatural. But to me, it seems strange that a news agency would make that kind of mistake.
A trained cameraman, a trained observer that has that camera to he or her eye every single day for 8 hours, 12, 15 hours a day.
All right, let me see if I can... Wait a minute, I think I got a screenshot here. Hold on 1 second. I need to open it. Okay, let me reshare. It's already sharing. Okay.
Now you do see this thing kind of jumping around a little bit.
Well, that's because it's not on a tripod.
Because I think that is just right, Anthony, because the movement of the camera and sort of the tracer effect of the object. So yeah, this is one of the videos that people are putting out there claiming it's a plasmoid. And I think this is, highly likely to be a celestial object, probably a star or Venus,
Yeah, Venus or maybe even Sirius. Those are the two brightest stars in the night sky right now. And that's exactly what a star would look like from a phone, you know.
Right.
I know.
And even, excuse me, and even the colors, Anthony, the sort of...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That undulation of the blues and the golds and the reds, that's just the standard color. And really what that is, it's the pollution in the atmosphere that gives you that effect. That color undulation is just the pollution.
Right. Now I'm going to send Todd the Washington one. The only thing that struck me about this one was the seeming authenticity of the observers. But they seem like they're really seeing something. It seems to correlate with where the camera is moving. You know, sometimes what people will do is they'll take a fake video and then they'll take an audio clip of an authentic video and sighting, and then you get an authentic reaction to something fake. But the audio does seem to sort of correlate with where the video is panning, I think, anyway. I haven't, heavily analyzed this. But they seem like they're seeing something unusual in the sky, and it does seem unusual based on the camera. But let's get your reaction to this.
Sure.
And Todd, I've just sent that to you now.
Did you send it in the messenger? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. Let me make it bigger. And I will back it up. Okay, let me share it.
And keep the volume up if you can. So it looks like we're not getting the audio for some reason, unfortunately.
You didn't get the audio, Jim?
Yeah, the audio is not coming through on my end, which to me is the only thing that lends a little bit of credibility to this. I don't know if it's authentic or not, but the reaction of the observers, the people who are filming it, seem consistent with someone who's seeing something unusual in the sky. And he's pointing out, like, he's saying, this is a plane, this is a plane. These things over here, though, don't seem like planes. They seem qualitatively different.
The shape does look odd. They do look very similar to each other, these two off to the right here. But is that supposed to be like right next to or over the Capitol?
It looks that way, but I mean, as far as the distance or depth of it, I mean, it's difficult to say, whether maybe that's, way past the Capitol building. There's no way we can get the audio, Todd, I guess.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Is it on YouTube or Facebook or something you're pulling this from?
It's Facebook, yeah.
The actual video itself might have the volume off on the Facebook side.
Yeah, play it from the Facebook side. From the beginning, if you could.
Hold on a second.
Maybe blow it up.
Are we hearing anything? Yeah, he's definitely talking. I just ain't coming through.
Yeah, it happens with StreamYard. Sometimes you get that issue. But I've seen it, and I don't know what that is. Now, don't get me wrong. That could be 100% bona fide drones in the sky. I don't think that's plasmoids. I don't think they're plasmoids because everyone I filmed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everyone I filmed or Robert has filmed, it's always been in motion, flying. If they're in the sky, they materialize, dematerialize. Not like that. Those actually look like two stationary objects that are in the sky hovering, if they're real. And it's so hard to tell. It could be anything. I mean, two friends could have set up their drones just to film over that area. I really don't know. I would be doing you a disservice telling you, yes, it is that, or no, it is not. Because I just can't tell from that video. But I do see what you're saying.
Right.
Now I have a video, Jim, I'm gonna share. And this one here, this was a stationary object. This is from 2021. And I just want people to see that what they're looking at isn't always what they think it is. Let me share this real quick. Present, share. Okay, so this was somebody, it was a friend of mine, and they had said that they had filmed this possible UFO, and it's stationary, and you can see, let me see here. There's a close-up of it. You can see that through the phone, like Anthony was saying, it even has like it's going in a clockwise motion. This little, it's hard to, this little point of it. Yeah, it kind of looks like it's going in a clockwise motion, even though this thing is stationary, which would be the play on the light and the in the camera, trying to make sense of it.
Right. The autofocus is trying to pick it up.
Yes. So yes, I wanted to show that because we're getting a lot of these, and that is, in fact, wait, I have one that's a little closer, and you can actually see it spinning. We're going to share that screen. So right here, you can see it. You can see it kind of looks like it's swirling in a clockwise motion, but it's just a star. It's just that looks like making it look like it's moving is our atmosphere, all that stuff. It was definitely a star. It was nothing major.
And it's moving like that because the person's holding the phone or the camera in their hand. And it's
Correct.
not on a tripod. And, the phone's just, even if it just drifts just a little bit like this, you're going to get a lot of movement.
Right.
Correct.
It makes it look like the object's moving.
Correct.
Because it's all background.
Correct.
Okay. So to sum up this aspect of this phenomenon or event, there are definitely misidentifications happening with these plasmoid/orb things. Many of them definitely are stars or maybe the planet Venus. Some of them are inconclusive. And yet we do have witness testimony, though, right? People on the ground who are seeing things which don't seem like drones. They don't seem like planes. They're described as orbs. I think even, I could be wrong about this, but one of the New Jersey mayors just the other day witnessed multiple of these. And then you were saying backstage that you actually saw one yourself, that you were doubtful that these were a thing at all in the area or were being seen, or were probably all misidentifications until just recently. You want to describe that?
Yeah, I was under the assumption that the vast majority of them were just misidentified. I do believe people are filming actual orbs from time to time in the mix, but when they see something like that for the first time, I think they just jump to the conclusion, oh my God, it's an orb. It's definitely one of these orbs that they're talking about, because they don't know what a star looks like, or like I said, a plane on approach or anything like that. But the other day I was actually doing a debunk video with the news, the orb Channel 7 filmed, and explaining this is probably Venus or Sirius, and it's stationary, and going through that whole thing. And just as I close out the video, a plane flies over my head, and I filmed the plane, and it's right over me, super low, and an orb flies on a diagonal super fast across this plane. And it really put me in for a loop. And I spent about 3 hours with myself and my team and 2 other team members from another team analyzing this, just to make sure I wasn't nuts and it wasn't a bird or a balloon or a big, and it was none of the above.
Is this the one, Anthony?
That's what Channel 7 filmed, yes. Now, to a person that is not trained,
hard for the audience's sake.
To a person,
sorry, Anthony.
I'm just saying, to a person that's not trained, that is not trained in this field, they're gonna jump right away and say, "Look at this! This is a bona fide UFO. Check out what we got. It's an orb. It's transmedium. It's there 1 minute. It's not. It's stationary. Look at the colors. It looks like remember those balls when we kids used to touch and the electricity used to go through them?
Yeah,
that's at Spencer's. That's kind of what it looks like. But again, it from the hundreds of stars I've seen like that, it looks just like a star to me, identical to it, and it's stationary. It's not moving.
right.
So,
And it's like this video that you're seeing right now. This video, this is another one. I really have no idea what this is, and this is from 2022. It's definitely something, and it's giving a trail. You can see it clearly.
Yeah.
But closer, if you zoom it up, that's what it looks like, which is weird. It's kind of circular, but that as well could be the atmosphere and how light play is. I mean, it really is. It's a weird looking thing, and it has a trail. So I have no idea what that is. And if you ever want to take a closer look, you just let me know.
The fact that it has a contrail, I mean,
I'm going to speculate that it's a plane out of focus.
Yeah, but
it's definitely out of focus because the video of it is right here.
Oh, okay. So it's a plane with a contrail. And again, if you scroll down and show it like the big round circle, a couple frames down underneath this.
Yes.
See it right there? Okay. It's just a camera. The plane is so far away that the autofocus can't compensate it because the distance and the lighting is poor. And it's probably a crap camera that it gave you that object. And people are like, look what I got. This is a UFO and it's spraying something. I got it on video. And
that's perfect example, this right here, because you're seeing a lot of that. now with these drones. People are thinking that this is something that it's not.
Right.
I personally think that if we're seeing something that has a contrail trailing from it, that it's highly likely to be conventional aircraft.
Certainly.
In my opinion, yeah. But getting back, I wanted to finish up with just the question of the orbs. So there are people seeing them on the ground. You saw one yourself. Did you get that one on video?
I sure did. Yeah.
Did. Can that be found on your page easily?
Absolutely. Todd, if you go on my channel, and I think it says I filmed the UFO orb fly under a plane.
Okay, let me see.
Right there. And just mute it because I think it has some music. And if you go right into the middle of the video, like right there, a little further. Okay, actually go back maybe like right there. That's actually the news. So what I'm doing is I'm showing people that, look, here's what the news caught, and this is what planets look like. And that's what I'm literally showing people. I'm literally trying to show you a lot of this is going to be misidentified. Yes, orbs are real, UFO orbs. You do see them, but you're also going to see these man-made objects that look like that. And then I'm saying, but you're not going to believe what happened. I filmed this plane. And as I'm filming this plane, one of these orbs fly underneath it. So this is the plane going by. The orb already flew by. Nobody noticed it. And then I slow it down, and now you're going to see. There it goes.
Oh, wow.
And I loop it like 3 times. And that's, I mean, we blew that thing up as big as we could get it. It's no bird. It's no bag. It's no party balloon. It's almost see-through, almost. It's so odd. It's not dust. It was 37 degrees out. No wind, crystal clear, blue, beautiful sky. Just a beautiful, beautiful day. And I caught that. And that stopped me dead in my tracks and shut me right up. And like, now I know what's going on. People are seeing these unidentified objects in the mix of looking for drones and other things in the sky. This is what happened. And they're linking everything together as one. And that's
So you think there's definitely no connection between the two events, that the orbs are just, the same orbs that people have always been seeing that are unexplained and anomalous, but they're just the same phenomenon happening in the midst of this, and there's no interrelationship between the two. There's no evidence of any. So there is no footage of any kind of orbs interacting with any kind of drones. I think there may be some footage of this.
There's manipulated footage. There's also manipulated footage of drones shooting back or drones dropping other drones out of them. But it's all manipulated CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So in your opinion, there's no relationship between the two.
No correlation whatsoever. The drones are solid man-made objects. Whose they belong to, via be the military or a subcontractor or like a Blackwater type working for the military, or even just hobbyists that got together and decided to do a big, I don't know, confuse the public and scare the public type deal. I don't know. I don't know who they belong to, but those drones that everybody, the government, everybody's talking, that's one thing. UFOs and orbs, totally separate entity. The drones are man-made. The orbs very likely could be interdimensional, extraterrestrial. I really don't know. In that category, the unidentified category, we'll throw that in.
Yeah, the paranormal.
For what it's worth, I know you don't give a lot of credence to Stephen Greer's opinion on this, but Stephen Greer has stated on video regarding this phenomenon that the orbs are also the government. That they're not. I don't know how he knows that. I kind of get the sense that he doesn't have any direct information. I don't think that he's being told anything. I think he's just making a supposition based on what he knows about their technology. But he has said that the plasmoid orb sightings, the authentic ones, I suppose, are also the government and not extraterrestrial. But
again, though, Jim, I got to back Greer up on that, though, because we could reverse engineer things now. You never know if you get a hold of extraterrestrial technology how it operates. They could be so far advanced from us. And then if you have that technology with you for 20, 30 years of taking it apart and put it back together, who knows if you can operate these things like that? It's very possible. I'm of the belief that we even have extraterrestrial vehicles that we reverse engineered, like Project Aurora, those triangular crafts, even discs. I think we, capture a lot of crash retrievals that we fixed with our own man-made human technology, and now they're just operating them.
Yeah, it's also my opinion, that we do have technology that uses anti-gravitic
absolutely
field propulsion that emits plasma in some kind of way, which can come off, as a strange-looking light in the sky, which we would regard as an orb or a plasmoid. And they do have that technology.
Bob, I don't know how you feel about Bob Lazar, but if you take what he says from a scientist perspective, and I mean, I'm good friends with Jim Goodall, and Jim Goodall's good friends with Bob, and Jim sticks up for Bob and says he's the genuine article. So I got to take Jim at his word on that. But Bob, when he explains it, and he says, when you put element 115 in the reactor, and then the reactor breaks down the particles of the element 115 and shoots them down through this tube into these graviton emitters. When those graviton emitters swing, it makes like a heart shape around the craft. And that heart shape around the craft is that electrogravitic field. And that field is that pulse of light that everybody sees when it moves from point A to point B rapidly. So that could very well be what some of these orbs are that people seeing. You could just possibly be the craft moving from point A to point B. But it would, in order for it to be a bona fide craft, it would have to move at some point. It's not going to just sit there stationary till the sun comes up and then it's gone. That's what stars do. That's what, you know what I'm saying? So again, I think some of it is misidentification and some of it is bona fide real deal craft. The problem is going through all this footage and figuring out what's CGI, what's AI, what's a bona fide sighting, what's misidentification. And that's just a ton of work. Can be done, but it's a ton of work.
Yes. And you can keep going through the misidentifications. People can use the CGI, everything else, but what is it getting them?
Oh, I mean, views, Todd. Let me tell you something. TikTok pays very well for 1 million views. YouTube pays very well for 1 million views. Once people get a taste of that, right? And they could say, well, if I could pull this over and get a couple million views, I'm going to make my Christmas nut this month, right? I mean, people do that.
That's true.
People do that.
Very true.
I want to go back to what you said. So you think it is possible, it takes a lot of work, but we can correctly analyze these videos and discern correctly what's real and what's not real. However, I've always felt that there's going to be a point where, and some people feel we've already reached this, where we can't anymore, where
getting there.
The CGI and the AI has gotten so good to where you just can't, I mean, maybe there are some kind of ways, you can pick up, some signature of something that would validate it as AI or not. But at the very least, it's very difficult. It's gotten extremely difficult. We're definitely at the point where there's extreme difficulty in discerning what's true from false. And I kind of feel, and we were talking about this backstage, that we might have to eventually, maybe now, start resorting back to just witness testimony. If we can't, authenticate videos anymore, what else do you have, to really, make a good analysis on whether, something exists or not exists, or was seen.
That's a great question. And I always resort back to the data and the metadata that comes from a piece of footage. You can always comb through the metadata and see if anything's been manipulated. Date, time, footage. So when you take a video, you have all that metadata. If that metadata has been manipulated, sorry, this thumbs up keeps going. I'm using the camera on the Mac, and now it does all these different features when you move your hands. And I'm Italian, so I talk with my hands, so I apologize. But the metadata if you have metadata that's not been manipulated, there's a good chance that the footage that you're looking at hasn't been manipulated at all. So I would rather see the metadata now when somebody sends a video, so I can come through that real quick and see it has not been manipulated. But then again, we'll get to a point in the future where they can manipulate the metadata too.
Right.
So yeah, I was just going to say, doing paranormal for 30 years, and one of the key focuses is EXIF data, obviously, because we want to make sure that somebody's that's making the claim hasn't altered anything, and that is one big thing right there. That metadata, that's a big thing, and you can easily see if something's been manipulated. But as you said, with technology growing more rapidly, things can, I'm sure they can maneuver that too.
Listen, I prior to starting Epic TV, I had a gigantic channel that I took down last year because I had a lot of footage on there that I didn't comb through the metadata. I didn't have other people, combing through the data with me. A lot of things could have slipped through the cracks that might have just been misidentified, really good CGI fakes up. I deleted that whole channel and started over again from scratch a few months ago. And now what I have with me is I have another investigator, and I took on a scientist and an engineer on our team. Bona fide skeptic, scientist, engineer. And when Robert and I film something, it goes right to that skeptic who's a scientist engineer, and he comes through every piece of data. If it's a satellite, if it's a plane, if it's this or is that, and he'll look for as long as it takes, and he'll let us know, all right, you could put that video up because it's none of the above. It's nothing man-made. I don't know if it's alien, but it's nothing man. And then we put it up with all that information now. And that's how we're doing these videos these days. And I think for a video to be believable, maybe more people should start adding the scientific aspect to the footage, because you see a lot of these gigantic channels take something off TikTok, throw it up, it gets 10 million views, and really that's all they're interested in. If you're just interested in the views, put it for entertainment under there. But if you want to put it up as like a bona fide unidentified flying object or a real paranormal, put all the data that you collected with it.
Yes.
So the real people that are really trying to figure out what's going on can get your footage and your data, and they can comb through it too and further their research as well. Because really that's what it boils down to, trying to figure out what's going on, right?
I 100% agree with that. As a paranormal investigator, I see so many videos of people at a house and their lights are blinking and going off, and they're saying, "Oh my God, it's a ghost."
Mm-hmm.
Well, what brought you to that conclusion? I mean, look at environmental data. You want to see solar flare from 10 hours ago. Did that set that off? I mean, there is things behind it, but they won't do that because it's the clicks, the likes, and things like that. Yes. So
let me tell you, my channel, I don't even have it monetized right now. I don't care about the money. I don't care about the clicks and the views. I really care about reaching that one person or that group of people that are really interested in the science behind it and really getting to the root cause of where they're coming from, why they're coming, how they're doing it, what's the general purpose, how's that craft getting from light years away to Earth, and if they can do it, can we at some point do it, and how? That's what I'm interested in, right?
Yes.
And I'm interested in having all those people watch my channel that are interested in what I'm interested in. If I wanted clicks and views, believe me, I could just take videos from TikTok and throw them up there too for the masses. But that's not me anymore. I should say. That's not me. But it's really about getting down to the root cause of everything. And just like Jim, like he wants to know what the orbs are and he wants to know what the drones are.
Yes.
Data solves all that. And until we get some data, it's going to be just conversations between people because nobody really has the answer to it yet. But once we get that data, we'll know. Eventually, one of these things will come down. A police department will grab it, and then it'll get shipped off to wherever. And 3-4 years from now, we'll get a report and tell us who it was, where it came from, why it was there, and everything else. So eventually it'll happen.
Okay, well, let's talk about that because I don't know when this was, maybe a week ago. I got onto YouTube and was searching for new stuff on the drones, and there was a bunch of videos out saying that a drone had crashed. Footage. I'm going to send you now, Todd, and we can play it.
That's the one in Jersey? they said crashed? Is that the one you're referring to?
Let's see. Let's bring it up on the screen. I'm not positive it's Jersey. Actually, it does say New Jersey drone down on the caption. Did you get that, Todd? So this clip initially shows like what seems to be just someone's cell phone footage driving by on the highway at night, and it seems like there's something crashed on the road. And then the rest of the clip shows what I think could be a different incident of the fire department somewhere, I think in New Jersey, looking for some kind of object in a semi-protected area. And one of these journalists actually,
what are you talking about?
in the clip, talks to someone on the scene and says, you know, what did you see? And is told, I'm not going to tell you. And then the odd thing about this, before you play it, Todd, is I heard nothing about this after the fact. It was like this was seemingly, I mean, maybe it was fake, I don't know, but it just seemed like the day after, you heard nothing about the supposedly down drones. And at the time, I found that odd. Go ahead and play it, Todd.
And you know, I just want to say this outright too. If people are coming to Paranomaly Beyond Disclosure and they're thinking that I'm going to say, or Jim or even Anthony are going to say, hey, these are bona fide, that's not how I run this channel. This is something that Jim and myself are very passionate about, and we're not going to tell anybody that something is real without the verified data to back it up. So this is up to you to decide if you want to believe it, but we will never say that this is a positive thing unless we have the information at hand.
Absolutely. Oh! This was the plane crash. The Cessna that crashed on the highway. He had to land on the highway. That's what that is.
Is that what this is?
That's what that is. So that, because I thought that looked slightly different to me than a Cessna. It sort of.
It was a small plane.
So that's
Cessna, but it's a small private plane is what that was that crashed. Okay. And then this clip right here, that's the drone crash video in New Jersey. Somebody had called, well, a few people had called and said that a drone had crashed in a wooded area, and they send out hazmat teams and all these teams. And that's another thing why I keep hazmat. Okay. I have like almost 30 licenses from FEMA and emergency management, hazmat, radiological and biological cleanup. And when you send those crews out, that's because whatever went down was holding a payload of some kind that people can't go near, and you have to have hazmat gear on so you don't get any of those chemicals on you or radioactive material or biological material. So when they're sending out hazmat crews to clean that stuff, that makes me believe more that it could be radio or biological weapon on board one of these things that they're trying to retrieve.
Yes.
You know, because you wouldn't send hazmat out unless you knew for certain that there was some kind of material on there that could cause harm to your rescue workers.
And so here I believe he's saying, if we have the audio, that he asked one of the firemen for information about this and was told that I'm not at liberty to tell you. So in your perspective, Anthony, was this strangely sort of buried after the fact? I thought no more information, came from this.
Yeah, odd that you bring that up, because both Robert and I were just discussing this yesterday, that as we're looking back for videos that they've discussed about drones and drone crash, and you Google it or you look for it on YouTube, you can't find some of them anymore. It's almost as if they were scrubbed from these platforms, from Google and from YouTube. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe misinformation, and it ended up being, and they took it off the platform. I don't know, but I know those were two different videos. One was the small plane that went down at night. I know that for a fact. You can find that anywhere. And the second one was witnesses in New Jersey stated that a drone had crashed, and they sent out all those teams to try to find the drone. I never heard that they did find the drone, but they were combing those woods for hours on end, trying to locate it. I never heard that they did, though.
Odd. What about the Cessna, though? I mean, if it was a Cessna,
Yeah,
Move it on. It crashed, during the midst of all this, or is it possible that that could have been shot down by a civilian? Or
again, Jim, anything is possible. Here it is. Small plane crashes near Westchester County Airport, killing one. If you want to look that up on Eyewitness News, that was the first clip that you had showed me. Channel 7, small plane crashes near Westchester County Airport. I can even read you the wing number off that plane that we're just looking at. It's Nancy 298 Peter Michael is the tail number.
and you can use that number to verify that it is definitely what they say.
Absolutely. Here, I'll just click that link that's on the bottom of the screen there. And I'll put the volume.
Okay, yeah, that does look like a much closer image of.
Well, Bill, Sandra, you can see all the lights behind me. That's I-684, which is closed right now in both
And you're covered with the
directions by
news.
White
You're not going to
Plains
worry about
Westchester
copyright or
County
anything.
Airport after this small plane fell from the sky. Tonight, investigators
There it
stood
is.
watch over the wreckage in the middle of I-684, a small single-engine plane in ruins on the center median, right on top of the New York-Connecticut border. The pilot tried to land at White Plains Airport after
Yeah, that definitely looks like a single-engine plane.
And wow, when you zoom out,
it looks like a cylindrical object.
It does, yes.
It's all
It really
about
does.
perspective, and that's what I was saying earlier.
That's
all about camera perspective.
Yes, that's perfect example right there. You showed us that is the plane, and when they zoom out, it looks like something totally different.
You know, I would love to tell people, what do you think? I don't want this to be drones. I don't want aliens to come down finally and say, hey, we're here. Look, we're here. I pray for that every day. I'm dying for that to happen. But if it's not that, I'm not going to tell you it is by any stretch of the imagination. I would love to tell you it is, but that wouldn't be fair to you or anybody else for me to lie to you. I'd rather just give you the truth. And if and when it does happen, we can have that moment,
Yes.
Right. And the truth is more interesting. So what about, let's talk for a moment about the odd lights of some of these craft. Some people have speculated that the lights maybe give the impression that the drone or the operators want the drones to be seen. They have odd light, aside from maybe the standard FAA lights, which might be on there as well. They seem to have odd light patterns, which some think may be intentional. And this was meant to be seen, meant to create a fuss over, maybe. You have any thoughts about that?
Again, very good possibility that it is. If you take Dr. Greer, what he's saying that it could be a psyop, it very well could be. Then you have a faction of people that are saying this could be Project Bluebeam. But I really don't think they fully understand what Project Bluebeam is, because that's more holographic projection, which means the things in the sky aren't really there. It's just these holograms that really look like something is there. The object I seen was 100% there. If it would have been any closer, I could have probably pulled it out of the sky. If I would have been up in my bedroom and reached my hand out the window, I could have probably grabbed this thing. Matter of fact, you have the video, Todd. If you want to play that video, the one that flew over my house, where I could pull it up for you, if you can't. That's a bona fide quadcopter in the sky, But could it be a psyop? Absolutely. Could it be people that, want to scare the public? Absolutely. It could be so many different things, and it'll really make you pull your hair out of your head trying to think.
Anthony, go ahead and bring that up for us.
Sure.
I'm not sure what I did with that.
No problem. Give me 1 minute.
And yeah, this right here, folks, is why we do what we do, because you're getting a perfect example of what people perceive to be what they think it is, but it's actually something different. And Anthony's great for this. Robert Orr White, his YouTube channel, I'll bring that up later on so that everyone can see if they want to go check out his channel too. Great people here, and this is, everyone has their opinion, and that's what we want, but we're looking for a good opinion. Not that this is something from Pallades or anything like this. This is this is the real world here, and there's a real explanation.
Could aliens from Pleiades be in the mix, making themselves known from the absolutely, and nobody's denying that. All right, here's the video real quick. How I know that this is an actual drone is we went through all the data. We went through Flight Radar 24. We proved that this is not a plane, a helicopter, anything. And this is the object that flew over my house, 6 a.m., December 14th. Okay, here we go.
Looking drone.
And you can hear like that lawnmower sound.
Yes.
Look
Now,
at this
from right there looking at it, okay, you could say that that's a Cessna. Somebody could say that looks just like a regular plane, a tail light wing and two lights on the wing. In front of the red light, though, on the bottom, there's another white light that if you pay attention, you'll see it every so often, and then you get the X. But then again, it's just cell phone footage. My dog trying to jump through the door.
Holy shit. Looking drone. Look at it.
Yeah, to me, it does, aside from the
Look
light,
at this thing.
what you can see of the actual structure does kind of seem like there isn't a body of an aircraft, a fuselage of an aircraft. It does seem like, I mean, you can barely see it, but it seems inconsistent with the profile of a plane, what you can see of the actual object aside from the lights.
And that is a commercial drone that somebody's using for B-roll footage or what have you. It could even be from a movie shot that they're trying to get location.
Could be anything. It could be very. It's the only thing I'm going to say is that it was huge. You know, it's like the size of a VW Bug. But I don't know, you know, what the state police is operating right now or the FBI. I don't know how big their drones are because they're not going to tell you that.
Right.
You know, you do see them in the sky, but you really can't judge how big it is unless you have something to scale it next to. Yeah, but again, I did go on Flight Radar 24 and I did pull up all the data to prove that it was, what do you call it? A drone. I proved beyond a shadow of a doubt. I got to find the clip. I have it. I got to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was a quadcopter. And I wanted to do that just to put the skeptics at ease because I was having a back and forth with Mick West. You guys familiar with Mick West? And Mick West is like, Anthony, come on, man. It's got to be a plane. One of these drones aren't going to fly. And I'm like, Nick, if it was a plane, I tell you it's plane. And then I sent him the Flight Radar 24 video, and I never heard anything back. But then, you know, Mark D'Antonio from the History Channel calls me, and he's like, I'm glad you proved your point. That was definitely a quadcopter. You know, so you have conflicting scientists, you know, fighting with each other. And that happens from time to time, too, with these things. Let me see if I can find the...
I think Mick West is too invested in his skeptical.
Yeah, he wants to debunk everything. I love him, but he wants to debunk absolutely everything, Mick.
I think he's useful to listen to because you know he can you know point out some things that are worth knowing about certain sightings. You know, he really delves into it deeply.
I say this: everybody's entitled to their opinion, and far be it for me to tell you what you should or should not believe. I'm downloading it right now for us, and then I'll pop it up because I really want your audience to see the truth that, like, look, you know, I even went far and wide to make sure that, you know, I wasn't crazy and that this really happened. It's going to take a minute to download, but once I get it, I'll pop it in. I'll let you know it's there. Okay. Here we go. Alrighty.
Yeah, and I know that you know, there is a lot of people that'll say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." You know, this is, but you do know what you're talking about.
If you pull that video up, in the morning,
It's
you
just like a
nothing
minute,
flies
and then
over
it'll
my
show
home.
you the
And then I had some screenshots of a helicopter that's in the area about 5 miles away going the opposite direction. So now I am on the Flight Radar 24 app, and I'm going back in time to show. So this is December 14th, 2024, and this goes by UTC time, not Eastern. So that would be in the 1100 hour time frame. So I did 11:10, being it was 11:12, 11:13, like right in that time. But I let it speed through up to like 25 minutes to show. And I'm also going to show you my block. I'm going to point to my block over here. Boom, there's my block. And I'm going to show you nothing flies over that area right there. And it's rolling right now. And nothing is coming going up towards Highland Boulevard, which is right there, northwest direction, like I'm showing you with my finger. And now the video's playing. And it's going to show you nothing flies over my home. No planes. No planes, no helicopters, no nothing. Okay? Now, the helicopter in question flies over at 6:25 a.m., almost 5 miles away from me. I am in Eltingville. It flies over in Great Kills, which is the next town over. And I will show you screenshots of that and the helicopter's direction of flight. So as you can see, I'm showing
I
you
went
the
a full
camera
half
is
hour
rolling,
show.
and there is nothing flying over my block, off the water, over my home at this time. I mean, I don't know what else to say to prove my point. Here it is in black and white. You see it's dated, time-stamped, and rolling in real time. I don't know what else I can do to appease everyone. You know, I'm just one man here. But I'm gonna do it because this is how we prove our due diligence these days. You know, and there it is. It's right here in front of you. Now there's an image of the helicopter miles away from me. My home is where the X is in yellow. That chopper's nowhere near me. And it's at 6:25. I'm also going to have some correspondence pop up now of a friend who I also had double check my work. And I'm going to show you screenshots of that conversation just to further prove that I had an independent source aside from myself double check this. And I will let that show right now for you here. And these screenshots are popping up of our conversations. And he's agreeing that I'm right.
Looking drunk. Look at it. Look at this thing.
So, I mean, there you go. I think if more people did that and showed, all right, I filmed a drone, but then you know what? I went to Flight Radar 24 and I show it's not a helicopter. I show it's not a plane. It shows not a system. Here's the evidence to that. Now tell me it's not a drone. If more people did that, I think we would wash out a ton of these drone videos that are up because a lot of them are misidentified, and you would be stuck with a small group of them that are the actual ones we need to be looking at. But to get that, it's never going to happen. That'll never happen.
And so that directly contradicts, you know, the official statements by the government that these are in compliance with FAA regulations. They have
absolutely not.
This one clearly did not have a transponder, and I think you proved it pretty conclusively. No transponder. It's flying right over, and it's real.
Now, what would be the point of some kind of commercial operator, military? What would be the reason they might shut their transponders off so that they're not? I mean, because that is something that's a safety thing.
Well, okay. I can't give a name, but I have a friend who's a captain in the Navy. And I was told that when they don't want to be triangulated. They don't want people to know what they're doing, when they're doing, where they're going, and why. And especially, they don't want the media getting involved and figuring out an official story to put together and who's doing it, why they're doing it. Again, this might be a top secret special access program that's going on right now. And that's the reason we're not getting any information. Even
congressmen and government officials wouldn't get any information in a situation like that. And a certain congresswoman, I can't remember who it was, she actually came forward and said, well, if this was a special access program, only a handful of people would be read into that. And that's the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
So that's probably why they shut those things off. I
Now-
also heard that they might have jammers on them that don't allow the transponder information to get out. It blocks it. I've
Okay,
heard two different stories.
I was going to ask, there was technology that can block
Jam
that
it.
out.
Yeah, there is. There is.
And so they're also, consistent with this, they're also doing other things where if they're pursued, there's been multiple occasions where the police have sent up a drone to try and follow one of these. And they will take evasive maneuvers and they will sometimes go dark.
Prime example, and you brought up a great subject, Jim, and I don't mean to stop you in your tracks, but you brought up a great point.
No, that's fine.
What objects do you know that go dark other than the military or central intelligence or homeland security or government? Well, we'll just call it government. None of them.
Right there, that rules out a lot of other possibilities as far as the operators of the drone. If we can nail that down, that we have solid evidence of one of these things shutting off their lights, going dark.
Right.
And maybe additionally, it's been said that some of these don't show up on radars, that they have sleek profiles that make radar detection difficult or impossible.
Right.
Then that rules out commercial and recreational drones.
Let me go one further for you. Let me show you guys Roberts, the one from New Jersey. Okay. And this is only a few miles away from Dover Air Force Base. And when you're watching this thing go off into the distance behind the houses and you lose it, it is so close to the Air Force Base, it literally looks like it's getting ready to go down and land in it, which further brings me to the point why I really think it's the military. And for the people that don't know, this is the original video to the video that was manipulated with the gunfire. Hey, Bill. All right. When you're ready, it's down there for you.
Mysterious drones in South Jersey. They're down here now.
Hope Creek plant. That's right.
Mysterious drones. These are military crafts. These are not extraterrestrials. They are not extraterrestrials.
Look at that thing.
These are military craft. I'm looking at it. I hear it. That is a military craft. It's very low.
And this one's brown.
Yeah.
You can see how low it is.
That's flying, like you said, right to Hope Creek nuclear plant, which is not far from the Dover Air Force Base. It's going right into that direction. Whoa, it's going to land there. So now you've seen two bona fide objects. Both I still think are possibly military.
How many military installations is there in Jersey?
A lot.
I was going to say there's quite a few.
Yeah, you got Fort Earl Naval Weapons Station. There's quite a few. I'd be giving you bad information if I gave you a total. I could pull it up and find out real quick.
Fort Dix is one.
Fort Dix.
Joint Base McGuire, Dix, Lakehurst. Let me see here. I mean, I know there's a ton.
There's a lot.
And while you're looking that up, I'll just point out that it had kind of teal colored lights, and you've seen other craft before with the same. Did you notice there's a kind of distinct color to those lights? Kind of, I don't know what you call it, maybe like a teal sort of color, which I've seen a lot of other videos with those same kind of
bases in Jersey. 8.
Okay.
Yes. That object did have very distinct teal lights. And again, a red light was in there and a white light. Again, just one solid white light flashing. Same thing on mine. Had the solid red light and one solid white light flashing. That's not your standard FAA strobing pattern of lights. McGuire Air Force Base Vortex, yeah.
I find very interesting, talking about military bases, that White Patterson Air Force Base shut down for a period of 4 hours.
So did Fort Naval Station, Weapons Station Earl, the Navy base in New Jersey, which is right across the water from me. And when that base shut down, I sent you the video, but I know it's a little difficult for you to pull up, so I'll pull it up for you. We had military helicopters circling the ocean over Staten Island, over Fort Earl, and back all day long by me, nonstop, 8-9 hours of just nonstop back and forth. And I said, you know what? I have to get this on video because nobody's going to believe this unless they see it. And that's the great thing about technology today. Everything is right at your fingertips. My wife's like, are you running out again to film helicopters? I'm like, I have to document this.
And the closure of these bases suggests to me a really compartmentalized program, that even these bases, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, there's people at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base that are very, deep into
this is when Fort Earl shut down because the drones reached the airspace. These helicopters ran lap. 4 helicopters, 2 Chinooks and 2 Black Hawks, like 8-9 hours, going to Jersey and then coming back nonstop. And nonstop. It's crazy.
And unusual, for them to keep circling, I mean,
the other one this other video proves that they're circling, that they're coming back.
Yeah.
And they're just lasting hours.
Yeah, I can say I've never seen that
Again.
Any kind of military aircraft flying over. I mean, it's going linearly from A to B. At least I haven't. I've never seen a circular kind of flight path of.
And it brings me back to my point where, again, I think that only a small faction inside the government, they rolled out this drone program, and only a select bunch of people were read in, and only they know about it. Even put the base on alert, and screw it, let them go up and do their thing. We're not saying nothing. This is a top secret project, boys. If you're in the know, you're in the know. If you're read in, you're read in, and that's it.
Right.
But at the same time, it seems like the spokesperson for the DOD, they know something, because you can clearly tell in the statements that they've made that there's a kind of clever sort of strategy that they're implementing, whereas they're instead of, what you should do is that, setting aside, that there are these misidentifications, but concerning the drones that are car size, that seem unusual, why aren't they doing that and sort of targeting specifically in their statements the unusual craft that people are seeing that is verified, by credible people in police departments and congressmen? Instead, what they're doing is they're lumping together all sightings, which include many misidentifications.
Right.
And thereby can much more easily dismissively address the concerns, by taking it as a whole. And to me, that's clearly a kind of strategy, that they're implementing, which suggests that they know something. They might not know the nature of the program and the details, but they know that there's something going on that can't be disclosed, that they have to run cover for, essentially, to me.
And you know what, Jim? We're giving a lot of drones to other countries right now that are at war, right? Ukraine, we give a whole bunch of military weapons to, drones. Israel, we give them to. And if you look on the news the past couple of days, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, they're literally flying drones into buildings like standard 9/11 attack style. Have you seen that? How do
that was,
we know they weren't testing these giant drones, just testing them over the homeland, just get their flight capabilities, test them, tweak the last things that need to be tweaked, and then ship them out to another country to do whatever they're going to do with them? Could be
Yeah.
something as simple as that too.
Yes.
Because funny, we don't see the drones really that much anymore, and all of a sudden this week they're crashing them everywhere in other countries that are at war, flying them into buildings and things like that. And I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying it's all happening in real time. Look it
Yes.
up, and it's just strange. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but it's just weird that all of that's happening all of a sudden, right? And it's
Yeah.
drone related. Just odd.
Yes.
yeah, very odd. But at the same time, if it were as simple as that, if it were just, military drones that we're sending over to Ukraine, why would they respond in the way that they have? In doing what they're doing, they're giving the appearance of tremendous incompetence. I mean, this is they're taking a major hit,
Yes,
credibility, and basically denying everything. If it were something as simple as just drones sending over to Ukraine, it wouldn't be that bad for them to maybe, it seems like it might be favorable, as far as their interests, to maybe admit something, that these are, experimental craft, that we're testing and working on development of. But they haven't done that.
right.
They're not seeing anything. And I think that maybe
They're
speaks
worse.
volumes.
Yeah.
They're not seeing anything.
Yep. I agree with you 100%.
And they're taking a tremendous hit, as far as, public confidence. And
Well, Jim, look at it like this way. We had the spy balloon situation. We shot them out of the sky.
Right.
Spy balloons with gigantic payloads on them that we didn't know if those payloads were weapons platforms or what. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have drones that are a lot smaller. Yes, they're the size of cars, but we have the technology to aim one of these drone guns at them and literally lower it out of the sky gently. And the military, the government, is the only one that has those weapons. Why haven't we utilized them and taken one out of the sky yet? If you don't know what it is and you have the means to take it down gently and just make it land, why haven't you done that yet? That's
Right.
confusing. And another thing that's confusing, and I got to cite Mark D'Antonio from the History Channel because he came up with this. Why don't we see them in the daytime? You don't see one of these drones in the daytime. You only see them at night.
Right.
As soon as the sun goes down, they start. That's weird too.
Yes. I was going to ask you, why are we seeing these at nighttime only?
I don't know. I mean, I've spoken to Bob McGuire, who's a former CIA contractor, and he built satellites for the government, one of my very good friends. And he said, drones don't even see very well at night, even with their cameras. You're better off flying them around in the day. You get much better picture. He was the one that also told me these drones have blockers. They have jammers on them, so you can't get their transponder numbers. Coming from a former CIA guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? He knows what he's talking about. He built satellites, spy satellites for the Central Intelligence Agency. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And-
we're acquaintances with Bob.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's all the secrecy that is out there, nobody coming forth with anything, all the speculation, even the mayor is like, hey, what's good? We're going to send a drone up and find out what's going on. In fact, Jim brought that up, and they were evasive maneuvers so that they couldn't see it. So it's just so crazy.
Todd, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that no news helicopters at night, no police helicopters or EMS helicopters, they all have cameras on them.
Yes.
They all have FLIR and night vision cameras on them that can count nose hairs, literally.
Yes.
Because I've worked for the police department. I've seen this technology firsthand, None of them filmed one of these drones while they're up in the air?
That's very strange because there's been occasions where, police have been on video saying, we tried to pursue one of these. We sent our drone up, but our drone could only go 40 miles an hour.
And they were going
theirs
a
was
lot
going-
faster. You're right.
Like 60 miles an hour. But yet they do have helicopters, right?
Right.
Which could certainly, achieve that.
Right. They got these helicopters. They're up there, 10 miles high, and they can find somebody squatting in a darn in a pond someplace. So yes, that is
Right.
that is
I mean,
crazy.
I have a consumer grade night vision camera, and I literally heard what I thought was one of these drones coming. And in a matter of moments, I got turned the camera on. I didn't have really enough time to focus very well, but I still got the drone on footage on night vision going, over the beach. So you're telling me the police department, the military people, way more sophisticated technology than I, that are up there with that equipment running constantly, they haven't had an opportunity like that. But little old me had a chance to jump off my couch, grab a night vision camera, and catch one. I can't buy that.
Right. No, that's perfect.
Yeah,
that's on point right there, because that is so true.
It's so weird. And I have that video somewhere. If you give me a minute, I'll find it. And night vision and FLIR, these tools are incredible. But again, my consumer grade camera compared to what the police department has and the feds have, and you can't tell me the FBI hasn't had their helicopter up, their multiple helicopters up while this is all going on, multiple drones, because they do. Maybe they just got the answers they were looking for, and they're not going to share them with anybody because it's an open investigation. I know the FBI don't like to play nice and give any information out while there's open investigations going on. But I bet you they have some really good footage of these things by now.
Right, or alternatively, they got tapped on the shoulder by someone or something, and we're told to back off.
Right. This goes in the black vault, and it's neat to know from this point forward. It happens all the time. Sounds crazy to say, but how about this, Robert? While I'm looking for this, I'll tell you this: when Robert put up that the drone video we just showed of Robert Earl White, when he added the tracer rounds to it, they shut down the airspace for drones over New Jersey, over the nuclear plant, over the bridge. You're not allowed to fly drones in his area right now. That's because of him. That's because of his fake gunfire video. The FBI and the news are now telling you not to shoot at drones. That's because the video Robert and I did.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Because I watched that video and it clearly said that.
Yeah. But how crazy is that they're now shut, and I have the maps of all these areas that are shut down in Jersey, Staten Island, upstate New York, all because this video. People thought it was real, that they were going to shoot at drones. They shut the airspace down for drones.
Oh, Anthony, you'll have to play that video.
All right, I will. It looks so real. Matter of fact, we'll do that. I can't find the other one right now. I got so much stuff on my phone, but I will pull up the gunshot video. We'll use my channel. This way you don't get hit. And
it did look like it did look real. I mean, you just didn't see none of the shots hitting anything.
Right. and just for viewers that may not know, this video we're about to show is 100%. The drone is real, but the gunfire is 100% CGI. This video was created by my partner Robert Earl White from the show The Order of Light. Let's go ahead and do that. So again, this is all CGI, but the world took it as real. And this was just we wanted to show because when Trump said we should let people shoot them down, and then Vito Fossella the very next day came out and said we should let civilians shoot down drones, we wanted to show them what that would look like. That's what it would look like. This is the video that fooled the world. Now, look how good you can blend two videos today with CGI to make it look real.
Absolutely.
That my wife said, did your friend lose his mind shooting at drones? It's not real.
But the drone is real.
The drone is 100%.
That's that military drone.
2
correct?
weeks prior, that was filmed. Yep. And then, you know, the video it was getting a lot of news traction and everything. And then one morning, I just wake up. It's like 6:30 in the morning. Rob sends me a message. He's like, check this out. And I watch and I spit my coffee. And I said, this maniac, that drone came back and this maniac is shooting at the drone. I said, are you out of your mind? You're going to get arrested. You're going to get locked up. And we were cracking up laughing. He's like, it's fake. It's CGI. I'm like, that is so good. We need to put that up, but we need to put it up with disclaimers so we don't get arrested. And that's exactly what we did.
Right. And then it wasn't long after I seen you had posted again. You had mentioned quite a few different places that shared it as actual footage.
Yeah. Major YouTube channels, major news networks picked it up. Ross Coulthart from News Nation, without even checking the description, the disclaimers that it's labeled CGI, it had a community note on there from X and everywhere else that it was fake CGI. And these guys are telling the world, maniacs in New Jersey are shooting at drones. Don't do that. Like, you're the people we're supposed to be watching to get the news, the truth, and you're telling the world this is real?
So why do you think that we as human beings do that? I mean, definitely an oversight. We see something and we're like, oh my God,
all comes
look
down
at
to
these
money.
guys shooting, but they don't look because they're too busy being awed by the fact that someone's shooting at these drones.
Not even. That video, from the minute it went up, it went viral. The minute that people saw that, within 40 minutes, it had taken over. Within 40 minutes, it had over 9 million views.
Wow.
Within 40 minutes, it hit views in the billions. Not from us, from everybody that shared it and reshared it. I mean, one channel had something like 27 million views on that.
And I think what happens is the reason why people run with these things without really doing the checking is because they think, oh, if this is, so widely circulated, someone would have said by now, this is.
It has to be real. And on the flip side of that coin, Jim, a lot of people say, well, this channel just got 9 million views in 6 minutes. Get it up so we can get paid too. A lot of them do that. We'll worry about the repercussions in the end.
And I mean, we're all guilty of looking at some kind of footage, whether it's TikTok or whatever, and something looks so to us, we can't perceive that it's real. We're like, oh my God, look at this, without even batting an eye to really look at what it is.
Right.
So I know I'm guilty of that.
Hey, listen, not one gun buff wrote in a comment and said, come on, where's this guy going to get tracer rounds from? A regular civilian can't get tracer rounds. Where are you getting tracer rounds from? It's impossible. That video is AK-47 tracer round gunfire overlay. Rob lives in Bridgeton, New Jersey, South Jersey. The cops are like 2 blocks away from him. He would have been in jail really, really, really quick if he was out popping off AK rounds at night. But nobody did a reverse Google image search and seen that it's the same video from 2 weeks prior that had 90,000 views either.
Right.
So shame on everybody.
And I think that's what happens with these drone cases. People see these awe-inspiring visions and things, and they're just like, oh my God, we gotta share these things out.
Well, Todd, to your point, and I'm glad you brought that up again. When we started the show, some people were saying, this guy, what does he know? Who's he? What does he know? Why is he talking about this? What makes him the leading authority? But throughout this video, I showed you 2 videos so far that people thought one was a drone that had crashed, and I showed you it was an airplane. And I'm sure a lot of people thought that was a drone crash in New Jersey, right? And then millions of people thought that people were really firing bullets at a drone. And I showed you that one was fake. So it's very easy to manipulate things today with CGI. It's very easy to pull the wool over people's eyes. So that's why I just say, look, just check the data on things before you put them up. It only takes 5-10 minutes to go do a Google reverse image search and figure things out. Or like I said, go on Flight Radar 24 and check if any planes or choppers were over your house. And if there wasn't, there's a very good chance you had a drone over your house, because they're not going to track that. So just go that extra couple feet and check before you post.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So before we close out, one more thing I wanted to run by you. A lot of people are carrying this narrative, I think unduly, that this is a global phenomenon. Do you think that conclusion is reasonable?
Yeah.
I know that there was drone sightings in England over some U.S. Air Force bases in England.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was some over Germany. Is there strong evidence that these international drone sightings are connected with what's going on in New Jersey? To me, it seems premature to draw that conclusion, that what we're seeing in America is at all related to what people are seeing in other countries. But what do you think about that?
I think it's highly plausible that we're seeing drone activity in other countries, because if, again, citing that it is the military, it falls back to technological solutions, right? And if you mention development and technologies aimed for managing drone traffic, you would roll them out nationwide to all our military bases, right? If our military is involved, it would be a nationwide rollout to all our bases, if that's the case. And that may be very well why you're seeing them in other countries and other states, and not just New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania anymore. Could be a nationwide rollout.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Yeah, and the fact that they were American bases in Britain
right,
sort of supports this. Except I still feel uncomfortable calling it a global phenomenon. Maybe
global. I haven't heard any global chatter. Like you said, I did hear. I think it was Germany and London. I heard sightings so far. Were the only two out of the country.
Right. That seems not to say global, even though Ross Coulthart himself has actually.
Well, you can't cite Ross Coulthart, number one, and forgive me for saying, he lost his journalistic integrity with me the first time he was fired for giving fake news stories. Then they brought him back to News Nation to host UFO stories. And when he told the world that our video, Robert White's video of the gunfire in mine, was real, you're done now with me. That's 2 strikes for you. There's no coming back. So I really can't cite him for any truth anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else, Todd, that you want to bring up before we wrap this up?
No, actually, that was a lot of information to take in, and I'm glad things are slowing down with this, and I'm glad that we have people like Anthony and Robert and them, because it really, to me, it really makes a difference. I'm not a blind believer, and I never will be. I need to have data and evidence to back up a claim. Could it have been they were looking for some kind of radioactive something? Absolutely. I mean, there's tons of different reasons why they could be out there. Could they be doing maneuvers like Anthony had said, and then the drones are going overseas, and then they're using them to crash into buildings and things? Absolutely. Will we ever know? Absolutely not.
And Todd, think real quick. Think of all the safety concerns that go along with this. There's collision risks with these drones going up and not knowing what they are. There's privacy issues with cameras on them. There's all kinds of public safety issues that are raising concerns with these drones right now, and that's a really big problem, because you don't know who's operating them. You don't know if they're trained to operate them either, right? I'm just of the belief that it's the government, because they're the only people that can do what they want unimpeded.
Yes. Right. And let's hope that this doesn't become normalized in some kind of way, that we become used to drones that we don't know what they are, we don't know their origin, flying overhead, doing who knows what. Hopefully, I mean, that will be suspect. If a year from now this is still a thing, and people see drones, flying over major cities that don't have transponders, that we don't know what they're doing. I think we should pay attention for that, something like that.
Absolutely.
Follow.
Absolutely.
And for those that want to look at your channel, it's Epic TV at Epic TV New York. Go check out Anthony's stuff because he's got really good stuff here, folks.
Thanks.
You're looking to see what's really going on. He's not debunking everything, but he is showing you the most plausible thing that you can see. And as far as Robert, go check out his site as well, Order of Light. Another great person, and you will enjoy his channel as well.
And I just want to say, I'm a UFO lover. I love UFOs, the paranormal, everything unidentified. Anything that goes bump in the night, I'm a fan of. So don't think I'm a debunker, because I'm not. I if it's fake, I'll just tell you it's fake. I'm not going to tell you it's real if it's not. That's just how it rolls with me. But I'm out there almost nightly trying to film unidentified flying objects, and it just, this whole drone situation happened, and I kind of immersed myself in it because we witnessed them a couple times, and it's really crazy when you actually see one of these bona fide drones. You have to get involved at that point, especially with everything that's going on, right? But yeah, don't think I'm a debunker, because I'm not. I absolutely love the subject, but I like the science and data that goes along with it, and my partner's the same way. Like he always says, we are the disclosure. We're truth seekers. That's what we are. We're just trying to get the truth.
Yes. And that's why Jim and I have this channel, and that's what we are trying to do. We want people to hear others' encounters and experiences. I'm not going to ever deny someone their experience.
Me neither.
But the great thing is, like you had mentioned before, Anthony, is technology. It's a great tool to utilize,
right?
Especially when you use the Flight Radar 24. You can really prove some great things.
Exactly, Todd. Why would you want to say something it is something when it possibly could not be something? And you can even go one step further and use the UAV tracker, the unmanned aerial vehicle tracker. And if it's somebody's, DJI drone or something like that, and they have it registered to fly above a certain, they'll have a license, and that drone will pop up just as well. Now, if you can't find anything between those two apps, there's a good chance you filmed one of these objects then. But do the research. The tools are there for you to utilize. Why not utilize them?
Yes.
And they're free. They're free too. You don't have to pay for anything.
Right. And that data, like you said, Anthony, before, if you have something and then I'm looking at it and maybe the collaboration can start, that's what the community needs.
That's what community is as a whole. Everybody getting together, collaborating, sharing their work, and putting forward my data, your data, and compiling it and seeing just what's going on. That's what it's all about. It's not about pulling the wool over everybody's eyes to get some views. That's not what it's about.
Right.
That's the wrong way to do things. It's the collaboration, the facts, the data, the footage, all of it. And then we all sit down, we all look at that and say, this is what it probably is. And then we put that information out to the masses so more people can get involved and try to sort it out with us. That's what it's about.
Yes.
Teamwork, community.
Yes, and that's perfect. Like with the orbs, things like that, you had showed what different planets look like, stars, things like that. And that, if people would look at that and go, oh, you know what? And maybe Anthony's right, and that's what I'm seeing. And my brain is just tricking me to think that is some kind of plasma.
Right. And don't get me wrong. Like I said earlier, Robert and I feel, these strange all the time, but they're in motion. They're not on satellite tracker, or they're not the International Space Station. They're bona fide things that are in motion and then go transmedium over the ocean. They disappear right before your eyes.
Yes.
That's what you're looking for. You're not looking for a stationary object in the sky. I'm only saying those stationary objects in the sky could be stars or planes on approach and things of that nature. I'm not discounting that these things really do happen and that these craft are out there, because they 100% are.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying that a lot of these videos that we're seeing are either man-made or misidentification. You may have one or two in the mix that are bona fide UFO or transmedium craft, but the vast majority are just misidentified man-made objects.
And I would think a stationary object, especially if someone thinks that it's a drone, if it's still up there 3-4 hours from now, it's probably not a drone, because they're electric, ain't they? I mean,
they got to come down at some. I hear sometimes from people too. I filmed this UFO over my house last night, and tonight it was here again. And then 2 days later, I seen it right in the same spot again. Well, that's because you're looking at a star.
Right.
Only a star would be the same spot 3 nights in a row. Not unless an alien's in love with you and they're coming every night. They want to get married to you, have kids or something. But we've got to be logical here.
Exactly. Oh, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on our show. We had a great time learning more about drones, and there was so many good questions and answers going around. And I hope that our audience, that they now have a different perspective when they go look out into the sky, and think for just a second, well, maybe that really isn't what I'm thinking it is.
Exactly.
That's just how it is. Our brains are wired for, we see something and we're like, oh man, that's
gotta be what it is. Right.
So, and that's something that we all carry, is our cell phones. And like you said, our phones are trying to focus and capture, and it, unfortunately, unless you have a professional camera with a tripod and everything mounted up nicely, it's probably not what you think.
Right.
So, but no, thank you so much for being on.
Pleasure. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Holidays. I don't want to offend anybody. Have a beautiful holiday, everyone, and stay safe.
Yes, Merry Christmas as well. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. We hope that you enjoyed this show, and we hope to see you on the next episode of Paranomaly. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow to receive notifications when new content is made available. A Paranomaly Beyond Disclosure is looking to talk with ufologists, researchers, investigators, contactees, abductees, channelers, and more for upcoming shows. Or if you have stories, photos, videos, questions, suggestions, or comments, please contact us through Messenger or email us at paranomalypodcast@gmail.com. And you can also visit us at paranomalypodcast.com for more content and information, including all our social links. I thank you again for watching or listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode of Paranomaly Beyond Disclosure.